city in Govan's Old Town Hall, and we're going to go through to Scrooge's office and see what we can find. Come on.
Enter. Hello.
Wowee. This is quite incredible. So this is Graham, the director, designer, and the mastermind of the whole
Yeah. Yes, it was my fault. Yes. This is my vision of what a Dickensian counting house might look a bit like, and then it has a few twists because it also has to accommodate an audience on this side here, and so the audience is invited into the office. And normally what happens is, you know, Scrooge goes home and falls asleep and all the visions come to him. And in this version, he falls asleep in his office and the visions come to him here. I think the idea was it had to be an intimate telling of the story, because essentially the story is the story of a man who has such a terrible bad night's sleep that he changes his way of life. He has such a terrible nightmare.
Well, a big thing that to shape those terrible nightmares is the puppets that are involved in the production as well. Can we have a wee peek at them?
Yes. Would you like me to take you through one of the secret doors?
Yes.
Come on. Well, look here. Yes, there's the door. Come on in. Now, the puppets were made by Gavin Glover, who is, in my mind, nothing short of a genius. They go from really naive puppets like these marionettes to really very realistic ones. And so the interaction with a puppet, a realistic puppet, is effectively like another actor.
So have we got any of the costumes or anything about it we can have a look at?
Yeah. The idea behind the costumes was I wanted the characters to feel like an illustration. As you know, Dickens' favourite illustrator was, well, he had a number of different illustrators that he really liked, but there was one in particular called Phiz, P-H-I-Z, and he drew these incredible grotesques with, you know, a giant proboscis and tiny little legs and enormous feet, and there's real kind of energy and character to those drawings, and so really my thought was simply to capture the kind of extraordinary nature of those drawings. So, for instance, Scrooge's costume is extremely tight. It's as tight as we could possibly make it, so that when he bends over he doesn't rip something. So it's really tight, and then I've used pinstripes to accentuate it, and so that he looks like a drawing. And so all of the characters and all the costumes for the characters are designed around that idea that they're like those old Dickensian illustrations.
So from here we get quite a good view of the kind of set as a pod.
The key was to try and make it look that everything inside the box, you shouldn't see any technology at all. Nothing more sophisticated than a light bulb. So all of the technology had to come outside the box to make it look like there is no technology inside the box. So as you can see here, this giant stack, that's just looking after some of the lights.
Inside the room, there's a series of hanging bulbs, practical lamps and hidden lights. What happens is they're running through various holes in the walls, in the ceiling. They run up over this truss here, and then they all come out on cables that run them along the truss, down here, and to these dimmers here on the right and here on the left-hand side.
So do you actually know how much cabling is involved in the show? From the outside it looks like a lot.
I could work it out, but it's probably a couple of miles of cabling, possibly more.
So how do you know how to operate all this from outside? How does it all run?
Basically it runs, shall I take you around to the desk? So this is the lighting desk here, it's called an ETC Ion. We program this with all of the information for each scene. So you'll assign each light a level within that scene and then record it as a cue. So this sends all the information to the dimmers, which in turn make the lights come on and off. Now, normally for a theatre production, this would be in the theatre somewhere, in the control box at the back of the stalls. The lighting operator would be sitting, pressing go, as told by the DSM, or taking the cues themselves.
There's so many sound and so many light cues. If you had 2 buttons, it would go hilariously wrong. So we've condensed both shows into one cue list. So he has a single go button, and I think 120 cues, 108. But in terms of the actual number of things that happen, I think there's about 630.
Is that a lot for a show?
That's a fair number for what you'd conceive of as being a small show.
So every sound cue that goes then triggers the lighting, which also goes. So James, who's the operator, sits with a computer or a control for Matt's computer on sound, triggers each cue, which in turn sends a cue to the lighting desk. So Matt and I have spent a lot of time combining cues and working out what needs to go with what doesn't need to go with what, if there needs to be delays on certain cues to make it all happen.
The operator has copies of these 2 screens up here, so he can see what this desk and that desk are doing. And the guy out here has a copy of a camera feed, and he can hear the show relay. So if it all does go horribly wrong for the operator in the room, you can still operate the show from out here. There's about 7 speakers in the room, all disguised. There's at least as many outside the room, such as the one right behind you, and all around the building. So we can do either the sort of generic type room effects, like ticking clocks and the like, and do stuff from outside Scrooge's world as well, be it bell towers or ghosts who've come in from reality or outside reality.
So have you been out recording some ghostly noises too?
There has been some ghostly recording of such things as snowy footsteps and hair clippers.
Oh.
I'll leave you to see if you can detect where the hair clippers are in the show.
Is there a particular lighting effect within the show that you're particularly proud of, or you think is a bit special?
I really like some of the flickers that we've done on some of the chases. A lot of the we spent a lot of time on a lot of the electrical effects, a lot of the flashing, and just getting those so they looked realistic and kind of not just a disco chase, so they actually looked like some electrical pulsing. So yeah, that took quite a lot of playing around until we got exactly what we wanted.
So can you run us through what you've constructed here in Govan Town Hall?
Basically, it's a pod which we've designed to a particular footprint so that we can take it to as many places as possible in the future. It's made from a bunch of truss and timber flats.
Marvellous. And so what's going on inside that then? Is that the whole kit and caboodle of the stage inside?
Yep, everything that happens in the show happens inside the box, apart from the lighting and sound, which is controlled from outside the box. So we were trying to create the 6 sides of a box, whereas normally you only see 3 sides, basically.
So have you got things going on underneath
Yep.
the set as well?
Yeah. Unlike when you go to the Lyceum or the Sits, you're actually sat on the stage. So things are happening underneath you, to the back, behind you, on top of you, in front of you.
Proper 3D performance.
That's the idea.
So how long does it take you to build this structure then, to get it up and running?
It took us about a day and a half to do the bare bones of it, and then we've spent 3 weeks kind of fine-tuning, but in the future it should just take 2 days, get in on the Monday morning and do a show on the Tuesday night.
And how long to take it all back down again?
I don't know, I haven't done it yet.
Well, I hope you managed to enjoy that and get a bit of an idea of what happens behind the scenes at A Christmas Carol.